Think you know everything about parcel shipping? Think again. This is ProShip ParcelCast, the only podcast hyper-focused on parcel shipping for supply chain and IT professionals in the retail, e-commerce, manufacturing, third-party logistics, and healthcare industries. Welcome to today's episode.
Welcome to the ProShip ParcelCast. This episode will be slightly different as it will just be a co-founder chat. I will not have a guest with me at this time. As many of you know, my name is Justin Cramer, one of the co-founders of ProShip Inc. I've been working in the small parcel logistics software industry since 2001. This has allowed me the opportunity to design, develop, deploy, and now sell high-complexity shipping solutions that have allowed individual customers to achieve goals of executing more than 3 million shipments per day, shipping more than 110 million packages per year, and deploying a unified solution across as many as 4 continents. For those of you new to this podcast, ProShip is a high-volume, small parcel, multi-carrier shipping software vendor. We work with companies that may ship a few dozen pharmaceuticals daily to retailers shipping in the low millions per day. Of course, we support manufacturers and 3PLs too. ProShip prides itself on handling the most complex enterprise software stack while supporting dedicated workstations all the way to high-volume scan, weigh, print, and apply tunnels. We are a great pairing for your OMS, WMS, and your store-based software. With today's topic, I'm asking you to look at shipping software for the long term. Not just the average 2 or 3 years that many shipping software vendors expect from a customer lifespan. Instead, I want us to think about a piece of software you can work with in your enterprise stack for over 10 years. This kind of thought process is prevalent for ERPs and WMSs, so why shouldn't we think that way for our shipping software? This will bring us through a few topics: sunsetting, paid upgrades, and the factors that seem to drive shoppers back to ProShip. Let's start with software sunsetting. Many of you have heard of sunsetting. Sunsetting refers to the intentional discontinuation or retirement of software, typically due to various reasons such as outdated technology, limited support, or strategic shifts. It involves the gradual phasing out of a software product, including its features, updates, and technical assistance, with the aim of encouraging users to transition to newer, often more expensive alternatives. When informed that a piece of software is being sunset, a shipper only has 3 options. 1. Pay the existing vendor for an upgrade to the newer version. 2. Move to a different vendor. Or 3. Attempt to use the software till it can no longer function, knowing that there is no support, and when the software breaks, you will have to buy new software in a hurry. We all understand that software changes. That's the nature of improvement. Simple software providers often just create a new version and abandon everything from the past. Kind of like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Nothing is the same. There are no similar interfaces. The data in and out are different. It might as well be a different animal. Software companies do this all the time. That caterpillar is old software and it might as well have never existed. Documentation is abandoned, support is cut off, and no compliance updates will be continued. The caterpillar has been sunset, and you must move on to the butterfly or lose support. But here's the kicker. Companies don't have to sunset an entire product suite. It's possible to sunset only the parts that cannot be maintained or are not driving the revenue required to maintain them. The rest of the suite can and should be saved, as it represents a very large investment in intellectual property. Sadly, sunsetting the entire suite is a relatively standard software model, but it's not the only model. With the advent of the Agile process, continuous integration, continuous deployment, or CI/CD, solutions were created. This means that parts are upgraded as they need to be. The key to this method is to have what software engineers call separation of concerns. Microsoft describes separation of concerns as a principle that asserts that software should be separated based on the kinds of work it performs. For shipping software, an easy example is separating each carrier into a logical container. Other features such as the orchestrator should be a separate set of logic, a customer's unique business rules should be a separate set of logic, and even the API interface should be a separate set of logic. I could go into more detail on why this kind of split makes for good long-term shipping software, but you didn't come here for a software engineering lecture. For those curious, in software, an orchestrator is a component that manages the execution of multiple tasks. In shipping software, the orchestrator acts as a central control point, ensuring that different carrier calls work together seamlessly, and often shuttles the results to the value-added features such as rate shopping logic. To ensure that each container or module is replaceable, software engineers need to set strict contracts between each logic set. This allows for the entire logic set to be replaced, like Lego. That is, if you build your Lego by hand and then run them through thousands of regression tests. Though this is clearly not as easy as the rhetoric would make it sound, it does provide companies with the ability to replace entire logic sets completely. even moving them to a completely different programming language. For example, when ProShip started, C++ and Visual Basic 6 were common programming languages, and ASCII was a standard encoding. Since then, a C# logic set has replaced all our server-side Visual Basic 6 components, and our encoding has moved to UTF-8. The C++ components are still there for speed where it matters. Few of our customers have even noticed due to the modularity of a proper CI/CD solution and a solid intercomponent contract. Will we have to sunset modules? Of course we will. We had an Airborne Express carrier module before DHL purchased them in 2003. We had to sunset that module. This did not impact how our customers used UPS, USPS, or FedEx, the other major carriers at the time. With a proper CI/CD model and a well-thought-out update process, any solution should be capable of a 24/7 operation and up-to-date modules. This can be done in web-architected software as well as on-premise software. Doing so often makes a piece of software capable of being run on a network, premise, or over the internet, subscription or SaaS. We will eventually lose operating system support for our oldest rich client. Customers have the ability to use our other interfaces, but they won't lose their server setup. They won't lose their business rules and their enterprise software stack connectivity. It will be a small, manageable transition, not an all-or-nothing transition. Ultimately, this means that the customer gets more with their maintenance agreement. Not only do they get a standard carrier-compliant upgrade, but they also get newer, more stable technology when and where it makes sense in the software architecture. And most importantly, a customer does not get an entire product being sunset on them. Paid upgrades. We get it. Companies are in the business to make money. That is the cold truth. But we have to ask ourselves a value question. If you are already paying maintenance on a piece of software, why should you have to pay to move to the latest version? We're not talking about a new interface or a new module. We're talking about using the same kind of software that good money paid to integrate, but the back end or front end is just a few years old, and the company doesn't like its legacy design decisions. They get to abandon tech debt rather than dealing with it, and they get paid a large professional services influx as part of it. They get paid to erase their legacy problems. How much are you actually paying for the lifetime of software if you have to pay every 3 to 5 years to be migrated to the latest version? That low upfront price may turn into long-term operating costs several times higher than a proper CI/CD solution. Newer employees often ask me, why do companies shopping for multi-carrier shipping software come back to ProShip? The ProShip marketing and sales team is often amazed at how many return leads we get. Return leads are companies that looked at ProShip in the past, chose a different multi-carrier shipping software, MCSS, and a few years later decided to look at ProShip again. This has never surprised me. ProShip is not a low-cost provider in the industry. We feel that we bring excellent value for our cost, but often do not provide discounts. Our prices may not seem competitive for a company that uses 3-year software life cycles, but beyond the initial purchase, it becomes challenging to compete with our value prop. ProShip staff has a long tenure. This means that we've seen many challenges. Professional service engineers, support engineers, and even the executive team and sales personnel get to talk about various challenges and solutions to customers' problems. ProShip's collection of personnel with experience in the small parcel industry exceeding 20 years is impressive. ProShip understands that we have a responsibility to provide customers with carrier modules with the greatest depth of coverage. This means using premise solutions as well as API solutions. But more importantly, it means we maintain the best relationship we can with the carriers to ensure our mutual customers can take advantage of all the services for the carriers they have chosen. This means that ProShip knows when to say no to something unlikely to be a success. We know the essential practices needed to make successful integrations, even for highly complicated integrations. And this shows in our customer retention. It shows as we see the career progression of our staff that started in ProShip out of college and have progressed to tech leads, managers, and even directors. Between the ProShip CI/CD philosophy, our staff, and how we remove problems for our customers, it is no wonder we have many personnel at customers who recommend ProShip when they move to other companies that ship. They know that they will get value out of the cost of the solution for years to come. It is all of the above that brings customers back to ProShip. A good product solution is nothing without good people and a good depth of knowledge. Combine all three and you get an excellent long-term partner to help you achieve your logistics goals. Closing thoughts. Thank you for joining me today as I discussed common practice of sunsetting in software. Hopefully in our conversation, you'll have seen why sunsetting of the entire software suite is unnecessary with modern software engineering practices, and how you can retain an even higher lifetime value of products that don't sunset.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of ProShip ParcelCast. If you'd like to learn more about ProShip multi-carrier shipping software, visit our website at ProShipInc.com or connect with a ProShip parcel expert via email at sales@ProShipInc.com or by calling 800-353-7774. Be sure to subscribe to ParcelCast on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And until next month, happy shipping.